Raytown Tenants fight for better living conditions. Bowen Tower Tenant Union demands action. A group of determined tenants at Bowen Tower Apartments in Raytown, Missouri, have come together to address the dire living conditions they face. Located just across from a local library, this 92-unit building primarily houses elderly and disabled residents, many of whom are now standing up for their rights. The Tenants Union, formed in July, believes it is the first of its kind in Raytown's history. With around 55% of the building's residents now part of the union, they are demanding action and change. "We've had enough," says Shelley Bell, a tenant currently battling bone cancer. "This past winter, we had no heat, and the air conditioning was non-existent until late June. We live with constant flooding, backed-up sinks, and broken elevators, which is a real challenge for our elderly and wheelchair-bound neighbors." The union's demands are clear. They want permanent fixes to the plumbing and HVAC systems, faster responses to maintenance requests, caps on rent increases, and protection from evictions. They also seek recognition for their union, aiming to create a safe, affordable, and healthy living environment. But here's where it gets controversial. The building's landlord, Charles Hill of Alta CGHS Real Estate Investments, has agreed to meet with the union, but tenants worry he's not ready for formal negotiations. Despite recent positive steps, such as fixing broken elevators and relocating residents to hotels, the tenants are pushing for more. "We're hopeful that today's meeting will be a step in the right direction," says Joe Mount, a retired Army veteran and truck driver who resides at Bowen Tower. "But we need more than just a chat. We need a real negotiation." The situation at Bowen Tower highlights the power of collective action and the importance of safe and dignified living conditions for all. Will the landlord and tenants find common ground? Only time will tell. What are your thoughts on this matter? Feel free to share your opinions in the comments below. Urgent calls to Health Department over Maryland City apartment complex infestations. Living nightmare. Health officials flooded with complaints at Maryland City housing complex. By Emma Reynolds, Baltimore Sun. Monday, August 4th, 2025 at 11:22 a.m. Topics: Maryland City, apartment living crisis, vulnerable tenants, pest infestations, neglected property, Anne Arundel County inspections, affordable housing concerns, housing assistance programs. Anne Arundel County. I've caught 12 mice in my kitchen this month alone. The desperation in residents' voices is palpable as they describe the deteriorating conditions at the Elms at Laurel Park Apartments, a Maryland City housing complex serving predominantly low-income families. Since new management arrived in 2024, tenants report battling an overwhelming array of habitability issues, from rampant rodent and insect infestations to mountains of uncollected garbage, non-functioning air conditioning systems, and numerous other maintenance failures. These claims aren't just tenant complaints. Anne Arundel County Department of Health inspectors have documented and verified many of these alarming conditions during multiple official site visits throughout 2025. The property's current overseer, N3 Management, insists they're actively addressing these concerns, but residents describe a frustratingly glacial pace of improvements. In what many tenants characterize landlord-tenant dispute over maintenance in Northeast El Paso apartment complex. Enduring unacceptable living conditions should never be part of the rental experience. But for many tenants at an apartment complex in Northeast El Paso, that's been their reality. And this is the part most people miss. When tenants try to stand up for their rights, things can get much messier than you'd expect. A number of current and former residents at 4944 Titanic Avenue have stepped forward, claiming that both the landlord and the property manager have repeatedly ignored crucial maintenance problems. Even more troubling, several allege that any attempts by tenants to report these issues have been met with retaliation, including threats of eviction, or in some cases, actual removal from their homes. Kimberly Peterson, who says she was recently evicted, shared her frustration, so they retaliated against us because we called the city. And then they actually get to keep our money and then evict us without fixing anything? She describes her own experience with disturbing plumbing problems, so severe that raw sewage and thick, dark sludge flooded her bathtub, overflowed into her bathroom, and even creeped into her bedroom. Peterson added that while she was originally told her rent would be waived for 2 months while they moved her to another unit, the property manager claimed in court that she simply hadn't paid her rent, which led to her eviction. But here's where it gets controversial. Peterson isn't alone. At least 3 other tenants, some still currently living at the complex, have expressed similar concerns, though they requested anonymity, fearing further retaliation. According to these tenants, requests for repairs were often ignored, and it was made clear to them that maintenance wouldn't happen unless rent was paid. One resident provided photos of unresolved problems lingering for months, including damaged walls and flooring, non-functioning carbon monoxide detectors, persistent mold, leaks, and broken doors and windows. In fact, several residents described going days or even weeks without access to basic necessities such as water or electricity. Yet without the savings to move elsewhere, many felt trapped. They report draining their personal finances just to cover emergency repairs themselves, almost never receiving any compensation from the landlord. As one current resident summed up, tenants are emptying their bank accounts just to stay here. They don't have the resources to leave or to hire legal help, and the landlord is taking advantage of people who have nowhere else to go. And this is where opinions can sharply diverge. When Maria Morales, the property manager, was asked about these allegations, she categorically denied all claims of neglect and retaliation. Morales pointed out that most complaints are coming from former tenants with long overdue rent, some not having paid for over 6 months. She argues that the media attention is a tactic being used to avoid paying rent, disrupting the stability of the complex for other residents. Morales insists they keep thorough records, fulfill maintenance duties within the law, and do not discriminate or allow unsafe conditions. She added another layer to the dispute, stating that certain individuals have made her feel personally unsafe, even threatening her during rent collection. According to Morales, this has not only hindered her ability to manage the property effectively, but has also made the environment more tense for other residents, who she says are troubled by the disruptive actions of a few individuals. This tug-of-war presents a heated question. Are the tenants' claims of neglect and retaliation a reflection of systemic problems in low-income housing? Or could landlord frustrations with non-payment and disruptive behavior be equally justified? Now it's your turn. What do you think? Are these stories an example of tenants being exploited in vulnerable situations? Or is there more to the story that should be considered? Drop your thoughts below and let's get the conversation started. Whose side are you on in this housing debate?